I'm standing on a beautiful point here at the Royal Kona Resort, and as you're looking over my right shoulder, you can see a lot of scuba divers and snorkelers out here watching the dolphin. And certainly on race day, that could be a golden opportunity as you're about 1/4 or 3/4 of the way finished the swim. You might see a pool or pod of dolphin. I know there's other things to think about. One of the unique things about this race, an Ironman distance race, it's really out and back. And in most races, either it's a multiple loop or it's a configuration of a triangle or a hexagon or a rectangle, so you have multiple turns. And why is that a concern? Well, first, when you're going out in one direction, you make the turn and you're looking back at the start point, the pier's over this direction, it's a long ways. And that long ways, the two landmarks are the two King Cam hotels. And historically, if you're on the pier, as I've been watching this race, there's a surge that pushes everyone out to sea. And so you'll see a lot of people not following the buoy line and not following the shoreline King Cam, so the one on your right side as you're coming back. That's what you should target. And stay close to those buoys, because a lot of folks at the end, as they're coming in, they're doing this big banana for about 300 or 400 meters as they're trying to finish off the swim back at the start place. They waste a lot of time. Also, coming back to the straightaway swim, because it's I'll say a monotonous stroke pattern. In other words, you don't have the turns where you may change your stroke a little bit. What can you do? The biggest thing is to actually break the rhythm of your stroke and your stroke technique. And I'm a real fickle about stroke technique, but one of the things that I will recommend is actually swing your arms up real high as if you're exaggerating the recovery, and that opens up your armpit. It also stretches your pecs, and it stretches your back. Rotate just a little bit more. So periodically, as you're going out and coming back, try 8 to 15, really what I call high swinger strokes, where you kind of open up that back a little bit. And ironically, when you're stretched out, you get a little more length in front. That stretches all the way down to your hip flexors and your stomach, which is a good thing. And when you get into the rhythm of this swim, you want to be rhythmic, but don't be afraid to try to mix it up a little bit. One other thing I've told a lot of athletes, and I have done this in this race, I've taken a few strokes on my back doing backstroke, and this is something that you should practice. Obviously being comfortable going from freestyle to flipping over on your back. Why would you do that? Part of it is the same reason I just mentioned on these high swingers. You're kind of stretching back. You get a huge stretch in your lats when you're doing backstroke. That's a nice thing. You push your head way back. You can bring your pelvis up to the surface. You stretch your hip flexors. It feels good, but it's something that you really want to try in open water or try it in your swim build-up in preparation for the race. And be aware of that swell again that can push you out towards sea as you're going out and further out as you're coming back. Try to stay along that buoy line. And this is where a lot of people, I think, take for granted that the person in front of me has the best line. I'm just going to draft behind them, and therefore it's going to be advantageous. I don't want to get away from drafting because it is advantageous, but you really have to be concerned on, do I have a straight line, or is this person meandering all over the bay? And there's a lot of meandering that takes place in this race, even with the pros. So make sure that you're comfortable practicing a few days before here, so you're oriented. You may want to come out here to the 1/4 point, and you'll also see the Coast Guard buoy over my right shoulder. That's a good visual mark. Practice that orientation as you're coming out so you have your line. And the last little tip I'm going to give is if you're a right side breather, it's going to work real well because the buoys are going to be on your right side going out and coming back. If you're a left side breather, you're going to be looking at the shore and also the sea as you're coming back way out at sea. So practice either alternate breathing or right side breathing so you know the orientation of those buoys. I hope that helps. This race is really, I'll say, tricky on the swim. I think a lot of people take it for granted, and I think, again, the uniqueness is the out and back, a long ways out and back, but recognize you've got some landmarks and a few technique things that you can do to apply and make the swim go by pretty easily.